You're not reading this right now. I know that sounds insane. I know you can feel your eyes moving across the screen, your brain processing these words, your heart beating in your chest. But here's what physics actually says, what 50 years of working with relativity and quantum mechanics has taught me. The you that thinks it's experiencing this moment believes it's alive right now, that you is already gone, dead, finished, and the you reading this sentence has no idea it's next. I'm Leonard Susskind. I need to tell you something that will fundamentally break how you understand being alive. This isn't philosophy. This isn't mysticism. This is what the equations say when you actually follow them to their logical conclusion. And I'm not talking about some distant heat death of the universe billions of years from now. I'm talking about you right now being a corpse that doesn't know it yet. Let me start with the most disturbing fact in all of physics. The fact that should keep you awake at night, but somehow doesn't because nobody explains it properly. There is no such thing as now, not in the way you think, not in any meaningful physical sense. When you say you're alive right now, you're making an assumption about reality that Einstein proved wrong over 100 years ago. And we've confirmed it thousands of times since. Every GPS satellite, every particle accelerator, every cosmic ray measurement confirms it. The present moment, the sense you have of being alive in this instant, is not a feature of the universe. It's a feature of your neurology. Your brain constructs now. Reality doesn't have one. Yeah, here's what I mean. Right now, as you read this, you think there's a universal present, a cosmic instant that includes you reading me having recorded this, someone on the other side of the planet eating breakfast, a star exploding in a distant galaxy. All happening now, all simultaneous, all part of the same moment of existence. But special relativity says it's completely wrong. Simultaneity is relative. Different observers moving at different velocities have completely different definitions of what's happening right now. Not slightly different. Radically different. And this isn't about light travel time. This isn't about what we can see. This is about what actually is. Let me give you the calculation that changed everything for me. Imagine someone in a spaceship traveling past Earth at 90% light speed, heading toward Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light years away. What does their now look like compared to yours? Because of their velocity relative to Earth, their surface of simultaneity, the set of events they consider to be happening right now in space-time compared to yours, not by a little, by about 800 years in Andromeda. That person's now in Andromeda is 800 years in your future. If they turn around and travel the opposite direction at the same speed, they're now in Andromeda jumps to 800 years in your past. 1,600 years of difference just by changing velocity. Think about what that means. All those moments in Andromeda, past, present, future from your perspective, they all exist. They have to exist. Because if only the present existed, then what exists would depend on the velocity of the observer. Your friend changes speed and 1,600 years of Andromeda blinks in and out of existence. That's absurd. Coherent solution is that all of those moments exist simultaneously in the four-dimensional structure of space-time. Past, present, future, all equally real, all eternally present in the block universe. And that means every version of you exists in that structure. You at 5 years old, playing on the floor, completely unaware of everything that would happen next. That child still exists at those space-time coordinates. You 10 years from now, older, different, shaped by experiences you haven't had yet. That person exists too. And you right now, reading this sentence, you exist at your particular space-time coordinates. But here's the thing. In 5 seconds, you'll be different. Different thoughts, different cellular state, different position in space-time. And that future you, the 5 seconds from now, already exists in the block universe. Which means the you right now is already passed to that future you. Already dead in the sense that it's already over, already fixed in the unchangeable structure of space-time. Your brain tricks you. It has to. You're a biological information processing system running forward in time because of the thermodynamic arrow. You form memories of the past because information flows forward along your world line. You don't form memories of the future because causality runs one direction. So every moment of your consciousness, instant your brain is active, it experiences itself as the present. It has to. That's what consciousness is. The experience of being a particular brain state, processing information, the sensation of now. But that now is local to your brain. It's not a cosmic fact. It's an artifact of how your neurons fire. Let me make this concrete. In the time it took you to read that last paragraph, about 30 seconds, light traveled 9 million kilometers. Information about what you were doing 30 seconds ago is now encoded in photons spreading outward from your location in a sphere 9 million kilometers in radius. Observer at the edge of that sphere, you 30 seconds ago is there now. They're not seeing you delayed. In their reference frame, that is when you're doing that thing, simultaneously with their present moment. And you can't say they're wrong because simultaneity is relative. There is no cosmic clock that determines whose now is the real now. All reference frames are equally valid. So what does it mean to be alive? If the past still exists in space-time, if your childhood self is still there at those coordinates, if your future self already exists ahead of you in the block universe, then what is life? What is death? Traditionally, we think life is the period between birth and death. Before birth, after death, you cease to exist. Only the present moment of your life is real. But the block universe says that's wrong. Your entire world line, your entire four-dimensional path through space-time from birth to death, all of it exists. You're not a three-dimensional object moving through time. You're a four-dimensional object extended in time. And at each moment along that extension, there's a three-dimensional cross-section that experiences itself as alive, as present, as now. But if all moments of your world line exist simultaneously in the eternal space-time structure, then in what sense are you ever alive? You're not alive right now and dead later. You're a static four-dimensional structure. Parts of that structure near the end of your world line are what we call dead. Parts near the beginning are what we call young. But all parts exist equally. The sensation of being alive, of time flowing forward, of moving from past to future, that's generated by each cross section of your world line processing information. It's a local experience, not a global fact. Here's what really disturbs me. Right now you feel alive, you feel like you're the latest version, the most current you, the one at the edge of existence experiencing the present moment. But 10 seconds from now, that future you will feel exactly the same way. It will feel like the latest version, the current you, the one at the edge. And it will be right from its perspective. But that means right now you reading this, you're already in the past of that future you. You're already a previous version, in a sense, dead. And it gets worse, because you can't hold on to this moment. You can't stay here in this now. Your world line extends forward whether you like it or not. The thermodynamic arrow pushes you along. Entropy increases. Your brain state changes. New moments get added to your world line. But the old moments don't disappear. They stay fixed in the space-time structure. So every second that passes, every thought you have, every breath you take, it immediately becomes past. Immediately becomes a fixed, unchangeable coordinate in the block universe. Immediately becomes a version of you that is finished, complete, dead. You're dying continuously. Every moment that passes is a moment of you that ends. That version of you, the precise configuration of atoms and thoughts and experiences that constituted you 1 second ago, that's gone. It doesn't exist in the present anymore. It exists in the past, at past space-time coordinates. And you can't go back to it. You can't revive it. You can't change it. It's as dead as your childhood self, as dead as any person who lived 100 years ago. Dead not in the sense of biological cessation, but in the sense of being unreachable, unchangeable, finished. And the you that will exist 10 seconds from now, that you is already determined in the block universe, already fixed, already waiting at future space-time coordinates. Which means you right now have no control over it. You think you're making choices, shaping your future, deciding what happens next. But if the block universe is real, if your entire world line already exists in the eternal four-dimensional structure, then your future is already written. Not in some mystical predetermined fate sense. In the sense that it already exists in space-time. The you 10 seconds from now is already there, already real, already experiencing its now just as intensely as you're experiencing yours. You're not the biological organism. That's just matter arranged in a particular pattern, and that pattern is constantly changing. Cells die and get replaced. Atoms cycle in and out. The matter that makes up your body right now is almost entirely different from the matter that made up your body 7 years ago. You're not the matter. You're not your memories either, because memories are constantly being rewritten, reconsolidated, distorted every time you access them. The memory you have of yesterday is not the same as the memory you'll have of it tomorrow. You're not even your consciousness, because consciousness is constantly interrupted. Every night you go to sleep. For hours you're not conscious at all. Are you dead during sleep? If consciousness is what makes you alive, you die every night and a new you wakes up every morning with memories of the previous you. What you actually are is a four-dimensional pattern in space-time. A world line, a continuous thread of causally connected events extending from your birth to your death, and every point along that world line generates an experience of being alive, of being present, of being you. But none of those points is more real than any other. You at age 5 is just as real as you right now. You on your deathbed is just as real, all existing simultaneously in the block universe. All experiencing their local now, all convinced they're the current version, all equally alive and equally dead, depending on your frame of reference. Let me tell you what this means for death. Physical death, the moment when your heart stops, your brain ceases activity, your world line ends. That moment exists in space-time just like every other moment of your life. It's not more special. It's not the moment you cease to exist. It's just the moment your world line terminates. The last space-time coordinate in your four-dimensional structure. But all the previous coordinates are still there, still real, still experiencing their local now. Death doesn't erase them. Death is just the boundary, the end point. From the perspective of the block universe, it's arbitrary which end is the beginning and which is the end. Time is just a dimension. You extend through it. One end of your extension is birth. One end is death, but the whole thing exists. So in what sense do you die? Your future self, the one that experiences death, that self exists at its space-time coordinates, experiencing whatever it experiences. But you right now, you're not there yet, you're here. And here will continue to exist in space-time forever. This exact moment, you're reading this sentence, this will always be a part of the four-dimensional structure. It can't be erased. It can't cease to exist. It's eternally present at these coordinates. So this version of you never actually dies. You just stop experiencing new moments. Your world line ends and no more future coordinates get added. But the coordinates that already exist, they stay. And here's the thing that breaks my brain every time I think about it. If your entire world line exists in the eternal space-time structure, then every moment you've ever experienced is still happening. Right now in the block universe, you as a child are still playing. You as a teenager are still learning. You in 5 minutes are still reading the end of this video, all of it happening simultaneously. None of it more real or more present than any other. The flow of time, the sense that these moments happen in sequence, that's just how your consciousness experiences moving along the world line. But the world line itself doesn't move. It exists static, eternal, complete. So when I say you're already dead, I mean this, the you that exists right now, the configuration of matter and energy and information processing that is experiencing this exact moment. This you is already in the past of your future self, already finished, already unreachable. You can't go back to this moment. You can't change it. You can't extend it. It's over. And in 10 seconds, the you that will exist then will say the same thing about the you that exists now. And in 10 years, and on your deathbed, every future version of you will look back at this moment and recognize it as a dead moment. A finished moment, a moment that exists in the fixed, unchangeable past. But you don't feel dead. You feel intensely alive, and that's the trick. That's the illusion. Every moment along your world line feels alive to itself. Every cross-section of your four-dimensional structure generates the sensation of presence, of now, of being the current version. But that's a local phenomenon, an experience generated by information processing at that particular space-time location. It's not a cosmic fact. You feeling alive right now doesn't mean you're more real than your past self or your future self. It just means this particular brain state at this particular moment generates that experience. And this is why death is so strange in the block universe picture. When you die, when your world line ends, that endpoint exists in space-time just like the beginning. The moment of death is a space-time coordinate. The person experiencing that moment, the dying you, that self is just as real as the living you. It exists at its location. It experiences what it experiences. And then the world line ends, no more future coordinates, no more new moments. But the moments that already exist, they don't go anywhere. They can't. They're part of the four-dimensional structure. So in a very real sense, you never stop existing. Your world line is eternal in space-time. What stops is the addition of new coordinates. The flow stops, but the structure remains. Let me address the obvious objection. If I'm already dead, if every moment is already finished and passed to future moments, then why does it matter what I do? Why should I care about choices if everything is already determined in the block universe? And this is where people misunderstand determinism. The block universe doesn't mean you don't have agency. Your choices don't matter. It means your choices are part of the structure. The decision you make right now, that's a real causal event. It shapes what coordinates get added to your world line. But the fact that those coordinates already exist in the eternal structure doesn't make them less real or less caused by you. Think of it this way. A sculpture exists all at once. Every part of it is present simultaneously. But that doesn't mean the sculpture doesn't have structure, doesn't have causal relationships between its parts. One section supports another. One curve flows into another. The whole thing has coherence, has meaning, has purpose, even though it all exists at once. Your world line is the same. It exists all at once in space-time. But it has structure. It has causal flow. Earlier moments influence later moments. Your choices now determine what future coordinates look like. The fact that those future coordinates already exist doesn't change the causal relationship. So what should you do with this information? How should you live knowing that you're continuously dying, that every moment of you is already dead to the next moment, that your entire life already exists as a static structure in space-time? I think it should make you more present. Not present in the New Age mindfulness sense, but present in the physics sense. This moment right now, this is your space-time coordinate. This is the one you're experiencing. The past is unreachable. The future is already determined in the block universe structure. But this moment, this is where your consciousness is. This is where the information processing is happening. This is where you are. And it should make you think about your world line as a whole. What does the four-dimensional structure of you look like? What pattern are you carving through space-time? Because that pattern is permanent. Every moment you experience gets added to it and stays there forever in the eternal structure. You can't erase past moments. You can't change finished coordinates. But you can affect what future coordinates look like. You can shape the pattern. And that pattern, that four-dimensional world line from birth to death, that's what you are. Not the momentary cross-section experiencing now. The whole thing. And it should make you less afraid of death. Because death isn't annihilation. It's not the moment you cease to exist. It's the moment your world line terminates. No more coordinates get added. But the ones that already exist stay. Your childhood still exists in space-time. Your adulthood still exists. Every moment you've lived still exists. Death is just the boundary. And boundaries are arbitrary in space-time. From some reference frames, your death is already in the past. From others, it's still in the future. But your world line, the complete four-dimensional you, that exists regardless of reference frame. That's eternal. I know this is disturbing. I know it breaks your intuition about what it means to be alive. But this is what physics says when you take special relativity seriously. When you accept that simultaneity is relative, you have to accept the block universe. And when you accept the block universe, you have to accept that past, present, and future all exist equally. That your entire life is a four-dimensional structure, that you're continuously dying as each moment becomes past, that you're already dead to your future self, but also that you never truly die because your world line exists eternally in space-time. That you reading this sentence right now is already finished, already past, already dead to you 5 seconds from now, but also eternally alive at these coordinates, experiencing this moment, processing this information. Forever in the unchangeable structure of space-time. You're alive. You're both simultaneously because those aren't temporal states. They're relationships between different parts of your world line and different reference frames in space-time. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's even beautiful. You're not a fleeting spark of consciousness desperately clinging to existence before being snuffed out into nothingness. You're a permanent feature of space-time. A four-dimensional pattern woven into the fabric of reality. Every moment of your life exists forever. Every joy, every pain, every mundane Tuesday afternoon, eternally present in the block universe. You can't lose it. You can't erase it. It's part of the structure. So yes, you're already dead. The you experiencing this moment is already past the future you, already finished, already unreachable. But you're also eternally alive at these coordinates. And you always will be. Dimensional space-time structure, this moment exists forever. You exist forever. Not as a continuous consciousness flowing through time, but as a complete four-dimensional object extended in time. And that object, that world line, that's the real you. Not the momentary cross-section fooled into thinking it's the current version. Birth to death, all existing simultaneously in the eternal now of space-time. Welcome to the block universe. You're already dead, and you always will be alive. Both are true, because time is not what you think it is, and neither is death.